Well,
Good afternoon. Hey, today we have Walter Key with us today. He's a top producing realtor, real estate coach, published author. But more importantly, he's a 21-year Navy veteran. Man, what a long time in service. Last year, he was the top 3% of his entire MLS for the total units sold for 2022, and he's never paid a dime for traditional lead generation. He's a former marathon runner. I can believe that. And something gets me believing that he loves his Hawaiian shirts. So it's so we appreciate him joining us today. Last time he gave us some good information on goal planning and goal setting. There are some great jewels in there. So take a look on our YouTube channel, Real Estate Power Zone. You will find it there as well as other things. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on there. And Walter, we're going to go ahead and turn this over to you. Give us what you got today on prospecting for our personality types.
all right, sounds good. So the last video Don was just referencing there, it's worth watching if you haven't watched it, because what I'm going to talk about today is kind of the next layer on that foundation, right? You want that clearly established yearly business goal tracker put in place with goals, milestones, because that's going to feed into. Right? If you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, it's very difficult to get up every day and go to work for your business because you don't know why you're doing it. So if you haven't done that, take a look at that other video. We won't dive super deep into that today, but I wanted to talk today about a concept that I came up with. I don't even know how long ago, as I was coaching agents, and it just kind of came together. It's actually going to be the title of the second book that we're writing right now, which is going to be called Prospecting for Your Personality Type. And the concept is really pretty straightforward, right? Most mainstream real estate coaches, most gurus, most people that are in the business trying to sell you something will tell you what to do based on the fact that they did it and it worked for them, right? So someone might tell you, well, I made $1 million last year on YouTube. You just got to go build a YouTube channel. I'll tell you how. Or, well, I made my whole business cold calling people and I did it. It worked for me. So you can do it. Go cold call people. And that is a kind of a short-sighted thought process when you think about it, because with all of the differences of personalities, of communication styles, of business philosophies, not everybody wants to cold call somebody, right? Not everybody is built to go run a YouTube channel, right? Not everybody's going to be a TikTok star. And so prospecting for your personality type was something I started putting together as I was coaching agents to figure out, based on their actual unique personality type, their own communication style, their business philosophy, how they wanted to interact with people, which prospecting strategies made the most sense for them that they'll actually wake up, be excited about. They'll put it on their calendar. They'll build out their goals accordingly, and they'll go put in that work because they won't be fighting themselves to try to go prospect in a way that they don't want to prospect. So what I typically do for agents as we're walking through that is the first thing we talked about last week, actually, right? The goal planning, the yearly business goal tracker. What does that look like? Breaking it down from a high level strategic vision all the way into, here's my actual monthly milestones that I'm going to check up on my business with. That's a foundational piece, right? But once you've built out the goal and you have a metric that you can track, right, now we talk about how do we start moving in that direction? How do we take the goal and start putting some teeth behind it and execute? And that's when prospecting for your personality type starts to get a little fun, right? So the first thing I typically do is I literally walk the agent through a mini personality assessment, right? And that may sound a little silly. You're like, well, personality assessment, this isn't Myers-Briggs or anything like that. It's not nearly as involved and detailed as that. But I want to know, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Are you very friendly or are you more professional? And some people might say, well, I could be both. You can be a friendly professional, but at the core, you're either friendly or you're professional. One of those is going to resonate with you more, right? Are you an analytical mindset? Do you focus in on data points, or are you more empathetic where you tend to focus in on feelings and emotion? And we basically do a self-discovery process where myself and the agent come to realize, okay, now that I understand, right, where our wheels are turning about who I am and how I operate. Now let's talk about very specific prospecting strategies that fit into that category, right? And there's a lot of them, right? And matter of fact, I'm happy to share a link to a list of them. If you guys don't want to wait on the book to come out, I'll share. I can share some documents with Don. He can put it in the notes of the YouTube channel. So, as an example, if I said to an agent, just do what I did, call FSBOs, call landlords, call expired listings 3 times a week, 2 hours a day, and you will have a wildly successful business, go. But they were an introverted, not really a communicator. They were a more analytical mindset. They're never going to actually execute on what I taught them to do. And I've wasted my time and their time teaching them to do something they'll never do. And then, right, self-fulfilling prophecy rolls around. The industry tells us 87% of the agents will be out in 5 years, 80% in 2, roughly. So if I teach you to do something you'll never execute on, and you never execute on it, well, sure enough, you're going to fail, right? If I teach you how to do something well that you already like to do, you are going to get a higher ROI on your time. There's just no 2 ways around that. If you're doing things you enjoy doing, and those things are designed in such a way to grow your business, you are going to be successful with that. So that's where the fun part comes in. So as an example, Don, can I pick on you? Can I use you for an example real quick?
Absolutely.
So if I was to say to you, Don, are you more of a conversational style guy? Are you more of an educational style of a guy? Or are you more of a friendly or relational style of guy? Which would you pick? I'll save the long drawn out personality assessment for another day. But of those categories, conversational, educational, or relational, where do you feel like you fall in?
Educational.
I figured as much with a YouTube channel and a lending background. So as an educational mindset, if I told you to go jump on TikTok and do silly things on your Instagram in order to grow your business, would that feel right to you?
Absolutely not.
Probably not, right? But if I told you, hey, Don, because you have that educational mindset, which tends to be a very professional, analytical, data-driven, structured focus, let's talk about building a YouTube channel, doing first-time homebuyer seminars where you can educate people on that process. Go into your community and host community workshops where you can educate your community on the lending process, the buying process, the selling process, right? Build a Facebook group where you can interject knowledge in a very fun and friendly way about the lending process to educate people, right? Would those make more sense to you than jumping on TikTok and Instagram?
Absolutely. Those are things that actually excite me.
Perfect. And that is, in a very short snapshot, that's the reason I built Prospecting for Your Personality Type. Because if I was to say to you, let's say, for example, right, you're paying a bunch of money every month to have a coach. Now, let's just say I'm your coach. And you said, well, I'm trying to grow my business. And I said, great. Let me teach you how to build out your YouTube, or I'm not your YouTube. That's a bad example. Let me teach you how to build out a TikTok channel and be a TikTok star. You'll do great business from your TikTok and Instagram. You're already, before I even teach you, you're going, am I going to get my money's worth out of this coaching session? That doesn't feel right to me. And then I spend an hour teaching you how to do it well. And I say, okay, all you got to do is go back to your goals and start putting TikTok and Instagram on your calendar in advance. Be diligent, go execute, go jump on TikTok, go get on Instagram. And then Monday morning's going to roll around and you're going to go, I wasted my money. I'm not doing that. That isn't my thing, right? That's the beauty of what I'm doing. So I'm going to pick on somebody else here too, because you're a YouTube guy, obviously, because we're building a YouTube channel. Todd, I see you're in the audience here. Can I pick on you for a minute? So same concept, right? Educational, relational, or conversational. Where do you feel like you fall in? I didn't hear you. Can you drop in the chat?
Education.
So I didn't, you're a little choppy there, Todd. If you could drop in the chat, that'd be perfect. I'm doing this. I know we're live and we're doing a YouTube video, but the live interaction, I think, will benefit everybody that jumped on the call. everybody who didn't jump on the call that watches it on YouTube will know that they need to jump in on Don's calls from now on, and we'll do a little live session here. Educational. Okay, perfect. So you're actually right in there in the same theme as Don, right? If I was to say to Todd, let me show you how to call for sale by owners and landlords and get them to work with you. Let me teach you how to convert a landlord into either a closed deal with your own buyer or a listing that you can go put on the market. While that might sound okay to you, that conversational style and that discipline and consistency of getting on the phone every day, calling landlords, calling FSBOs, calling people, and using a framework to have a conversation when really what you're trying to do is build out an educational medium, you're not going to want to do it. And so I'm going to just real quick for everyone on the call, because you might think like, well, he said YouTube twice. That must be the only thing. For sale by owners, landlords, expired listings, building strategic partners with CPAs, estate attorneys, financial advisors, divorce lawyers, partnering with retirement communities and working with the marketing director so you can get listing referrals directly from that retirement community, door knocking a neighborhood, right? All of those, that's just one category. That's all conversational. All of those business building activities are going to revolve around the mindset of, I want to go build relationships with people through great conversations, right? In the professional educational category, we've got building out a YouTube channel, first-time homebuyer seminars, community group workshops, educational social media content, right? There is a way to do social media where you're not just dancing around being silly on TikTok. There is an actual mechanism to educate through social media as well. Facebook groups and how you work those can be very educational. Networking groups, open house events can become very professional and educational if you do them right. All of those are in the educational category. And then you've got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Live, community events, volunteer opportunities, Facebook groups that you jump into that you don't build them, but you're interacting in someone else's, sports team sponsorships, community appreciation events. All of those are going to fall into that relational and friendly category. So there's over 24 different ways that an agent can, and that's just what I have on the list, right? There's subsections of all of those. Over 24 different ways that you can teach an agent how to go grow their business effectively the way they want to, so that they actually put in the work every day. They wake up excited. Monday morning rolls around and everyone else is like, oh my gosh, where's another cup of coffee? And you as the agent who learned how to grow your business your way, just going to crack your knuckles and go execute the calendar you already built because you're excited about doing business your way. And you're going to make a lot of money from it because you will do it consistently. You will do it with more energy. You'll do it with more focus and passion. And the conversations and the interactions and the energy will translate into better relationships that turn into business because you actually like what you're doing. So all of those great ways have a very specific strategy behind them. There's a purpose behind them. There's an individual way to do it. That's weeks and weeks of training. Rather than waste money and time learning everything, let's talk about what needs to be learned for you. So what I typically tell an agent to do is think about your business like a table, okay? And follow me for a minute on this analogy. It'll make perfect sense. How many of you have ever seen a one-legged table? Not counting a high-top bar stool because they're actually a huge fat base, right? An actual one-legged table. Nobody. Because it's not stable, right? Anything bumps that table, it falls right over. Well, your business is the same way. If you only have one leg of business and something happens to that business leg, right? My YouTube channel goes down, right? Who knows? There's a cyber attack. There's no more landlords in my market because I sold them all, right? If you only have one way to do your business and it goes away, you have no business. And that's not smart. But I think about this from the other side of the spectrum. Have you ever seen a table with 6, 7, 8, 9 legs? Well, now the legs are just getting in the way, right? It's affecting the functionality of the table because I can't even get under it. There's too many legs. And again, your business is the same way, right? If you're trying to do a whole bunch of things, you're not really going to be doing any of them well. And so I typically tell people, think about your business like a table. You want somewhere between 3 to 4 legs of business in order to know that your business is stable. You have multiple ways to do it. If something dries up, you can dive in deeper on the others. and you're never without business because you learn to do this smartly. So of 24 different options, there's almost always an easy 2, 3, 4 things that people are like, that's my jam. That's my, not that, I don't want to do that, but those, I'll do those. And then you learn those really well. And my first book, The Startup Agent, I dove into, there's an entire chapter on prospecting strategies. So obviously I dove a lot deeper into the individual strategies and how they work and how they function. Prospecting for your personality type is kind of the next evolution in that, where we talk about the very specific strategies tailored to each individual agent and how to do those strategies well. So you're not wasting time, you're not wasting energy, and you can focus on the things that make the most sense. Now, there's one caveat that I'll say when you start building this out. Everyone loves to be the GOAT, right? The greatest of all time. That's the fancy acronym. That's what all the kiddos are saying these days. And in order to do that, there's 4 things that every business needs to be successful, right? I talked about this a little bit last time I was on the call. I broke GOAT into an acronym. The G is for goals, right? There's no amount of prospecting strategies. There's no amount of education and knowledge you can acquire if you don't know why you're doing it. You don't have a clear vision. You have written goals. You have a trackable milestone. It's going to be very hard for you to succeed in your business because you haven't laid the foundation of why you're executing the strategies. That's very important. You got to have those goals first. The O is opportunities, right? This business does not create itself. There's just no way you can sit back and hope your phone rings. You have to go create opportunities to connect with people, build genuine relationships based on the value that you can add and the problem you can solve for them. And then you serve those people well through a real estate transaction or a lending transaction or whatever business you might be in. Now, in order to create those opportunities, you have to take disciplined and consistent action. And that's where the active prospecting strategies come into play, right? We have to lay the goals down first, and we have to actively prospect on the calendar in advance. What am I doing? When am I doing it? How am I doing it? So that I can create those opportunities. And then last but not least, in order to take action, you got to have the right time management. So I teach people whatever strategy you're going to use, whether it's cold calling, it's YouTube, it's TikTok, it's community volunteer events, doesn't matter. Whatever you're going to do, your week should be built out on your calendar in advance, on purpose, in priority order, with the specific days and the specific times that you are going to execute those active prospecting strategies. That's where all of this starts to come together, from the high level goals to the active prospecting strategies, the time management and putting it on the calendar in advance so you can wake up Monday morning and just go to work. That's when it all starts to come together and you start to see great success in your business. So let me pause there for just a minute. I know we're already 3:21. I want to just take a pause, ask if there's any questions about that, if there's anything else out there that I can dive into. I don't want to just drone on the whole time and miss an opportunity to help somebody.
Does anybody have any questions?
And you can drop it in the chat. You can come off mute, whatever you want to do.
Don't be shy here. This is a great opportunity to talk with him. I know that you're giving some great information. I mean, I'm taking some notes here.
Yeah. I'm going to put my contact info in the chat again for those that are on the call, or Don, if you want to drop that in the YouTube about when you get to that. If you have a question, you don't want to ask it in public, you're welcome to click on that link tree. That's going to be my phone number, my website, my email, like all of my social profiles. Feel free to reach out to me if you have further questions. I am always more than happy to help somebody. But understand there's 3 primary components to a very, very successful business. Whether you're in real estate, you're in lending, you're in any sales business, you have to start with a clear vision of where you want to go. And you have to take the time to write down those goals, break those goals into trackable milestones of some kind so that you can look at your business regularly and say, am I on track? Nope, got to do something else. Am I on track? Yes, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Then take those active prospecting strategies that align with who you are, really dive into 2 or 3, maybe 4 at most, and put them on your calendar in advance. When am I doing it? How am I doing it? What is it I'm going to execute on? And then at that point, you just get up in the morning and you go to work. And when every other agent's wondering what it is they're going to do today, you already have the clarity, you have the plan, you have the knowledge you need to execute. I tell people, I said, knowledge without execution is kind of like a boat sitting on the beach. It might be nice to have, but it ain't taking you anywhere, right? You got to execute on that knowledge before it starts to make sense to anybody. All right.
Absolutely.
I don't see any questions in the chat. So
Yeah.
Don, I'll turn it back over to you. What do you got?
Well, no, here's one thing I want to do is we're fortunate to have several people here on, and a couple of us have answered as far as what our personality type is. Why don't everybody put in there what your personality type is, what you think that it might be? Because everything stems from your personality type and understanding that. If you understand your personality type to begin with, that's the sooner that you can start zoning in on the activities that will make you successful and not have to, in my case, people tell me do TikToks or these short little videos. It's like, okay, that's not my personality type on there. It took me longer to try to come up with a little 2-minute video than just doing what these lives are that we're doing, that we record and put it on, and it's good value for everybody.
Nice. It's funny when I'll have coached agents before, and I had an agent tell me one time that they had been with, I won't say the name of it, a very large, everyone would know the name, coaching program for 11 months. I spent an hour on a Zoom call walking through this process. And at the end of that Zoom call, they said, could I take a selfie with you? This is the most valuable thing anyone's ever done for me since I started my real estate career, including the coaching. And the only thing that was different is, rather than me trying to tell him what to do, I started with, who are you? What do you like to do? Tell me about your personality type. Let me walk you through this questionnaire so I understand what makes you tick. And then I said, it sounds like this and this. Would you agree? Oh, yeah, absolutely. If I knew how to do that, great. Let me teach you how to do that. Then you go put that on your calendar. And it was mind-boggling that no one had ever sat down, and including the agent, by the way. It's funny when you do this personality assessment. At the end of the assessment, I tell people, this will be fun for you guys if you want to do it. I tell the agents after I've asked questions, I say, I want you to imagine for a moment you are a product in the grocery store, okay? You're just sitting up on the shelf, chilling out with the chips and dip, waiting for somebody to buy you, right? Every product in a grocery store has an ingredient label, right? From the most prominent ingredient to the least, they're all labeled out. What is in this product? And so I tell the agents, I want you to tell me your unique personality style, your communication style, what makes you tick, what are your unique traits? If I read your ingredient label, what are the first 5 words I'm going to read? And then I let the agent give me the 5 words that they feel best describe them. Now, you might think that, oh, well, boom, 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 boom. I have had agents take 10 to 12 minutes to give me 5 words to describe themselves. And at the end of that exercise, what happens is they realize, I've had them say it on the calls, I've never thought about that. Nobody's ever asked me that before, right? That process of self-discovery about knowing who you are and how you want to operate will change your mindset on how you do your business. It's amazing.
It's a great cornerstone for what you do. And here's one thing I'm thinking on this is, you may think that you're possibly one way, but as you get into things, you'll discover that, okay, another personality type is actually stronger suited for you. So don't be afraid to pivot. The main thing is hey, the questions out there, and those are some, that's some great starting information on.
Yeah. Learn who you are and how you operate, and then align your business with that. Because I guarantee you, regardless of who you are, regardless of how you operate, regardless of how you communicate, there is an active prospecting strategy that aligns with that. And when you can come into alignment with what you do naturally, your business will take off, because you're not fighting yourself to do the work. You're actually just going out there and running your business the way you want to run it, but you do it in such a way where you learn how to do great business. I was chatting with an agent who's an absolute fur baby lover, loves her dogs, loves her cats. And we wound up talking for 20 minutes about how to create, host, and run a volunteer opportunity for her community humane society. How do you market that? How do you go talk to the people that run the Humane Society? How do you lead generate off of the idea that, hey, I'm going to do a volunteer opportunity. Who else wants to come with me? Like-minded people that you're captive for 3 hours doing volunteer work with. Why? Because you love it and they love it, and you automatically have a common bond. How easy is it to follow up with those people now after you've spent 3 hours talking with them about their family? How long have you lived here? What do you do? Oh, that's cool. What do you do? Oh, I'm in real estate. Great. How easy is that follow-up? There's no sales pitch. There's no cold calls. There's no convert, no handle objection. These people are like-minded people. That's the kind of business I like to do.
That's the thing. And to give one example, I recently was talking with someone who was giving me some free coaching, but what he was doing was he was telling me what to do. He wasn't finding out about me. I cut that one off on there. I mean, I appreciate some of the information that he did give me. I found a couple things useful, but it was what worked for him. It wasn't what worked for me on there. And the sooner that, you know, anybody who's listening to this and everybody that's on here today, that you find these things and that you find out what your personality type is, then you find out, you know, those activities that excite you, because there are those things that will excite you on being able to do. And Walter, did you say that you have a list of those different types of activities that fall under? Or
yeah, so what I'll do is I'll put a link to my yearly business goal tracker in the comments, because that's the foundation, right? We have to do that first. We have to know what our goals are, what we're trying to accomplish, how we put that together. That's got to be step one. And then what I'll do is I'll list out those lead gen strategies in a separate document for people to look at, reflect on, see which ones might marry best with them. So this first Google Drive document, that's the yearly business goal tracker. I talked about that last week, how to put those goals into actual action. And then I'll drop the active prospecting strategies in there in just 1 second as well, so everybody has them.
Absolutely. I mean, that's awesome. And some of y'all who reply with your different personality types, those are interesting to see on there. So make sure that you take what Walter has offered here on there. Yes, I mean, we can't go through everything on there, but this is what a great starting point here for y'all have just got a master class and haven't had to waste a lot of time, future time anyway, trying to figure out things, because there's so many different activities that you can do out there. Find those things that work for you. I mean, I've finally, after 5 years of being in the business, I finally found some things that now I can concentrate on, these things that excite me to be able to do. And these it's exciting to me, because I really enjoy watching y'all thrive on there. Realtors, lenders, whoever, just to be able for y'all to be able to thrive. And hey, I get a little business out of it, that's fine. But it gives me joy on there because of my education mindset on there. But yeah, we're all in this to make money, but there's a lot of business for everybody out there, a lot of business, even in a tough market like this. It's just what activities you're going to do to support your personality type.
Yep, absolutely.
So any closing words here? Words of wisdom? You've already done a lot there. Anybody have any questions before we let him off? Okay. You can...
Hey, Walter, I do have a question for you.
Yeah, what you got, Brian?
I will, well, the different personality traits, etc. Every test I've taken, voluntarily, etc. Between what you would be calling the educational or conversational. Okay. I love to teach. I love to share knowledge. I get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing people grow. Yep. At the same time, I can talk or paint off the wall, as I've been told. Where am I in your scheme of things, or in the context you're speaking?
Yeah.
I don't want to do two things halfway because that just means I fail at both.
Right.
Where do you recommend someone like me to go?
So I would say for someone who loves to educate and loves to talk, definitely look into hosting first-time homebuyer seminars. That's going to feed the educational side, and you're the one doing 99% of talking, because on a webinar or a seminar, while there's a Q&A at the end, it's you doing most of the content, most of the educating. So
Okay.
that's going to work out great for you. And it's not overly complex, right? Just like anything, you're going to put the event together, build out a PowerPoint on the home buying process and what to look for and mistakes to avoid, and get your lender involved with that if you're not a lender. Let them talk about loan types, credit scores, things like that. Get them in the mix too. And then you're going to go to Eventbrite, which you can build the event for free, make people register for the seminar. You can do it in person or via Zoom, whichever you prefer. Every time someone registers, immediately send them an email thanking them for registering. Go to your social profiles if you're on any, and look for them and friend them if they're there. And that way, even if they miss the webinar, you've still put them into your ecosystem. And then on the webinar, you just get to do all the talking and all the educating. And at the end of it, they go, wow, you're amazing. What's the next step? Oh, get with the lender and get pre-qualified. Let's go. And so a lot of those who love to talk and love to educate, that first-time homebuyer seminar is a wonderful way to do clients. Now, what I like to do is, after I've built up a buyer base with the first-time homebuyer webinars and I start putting them in front of the lender, I get them qualified, because I'm a conversationalist at heart. I'll take my buyers that are qualified, and now I'll go actively look to have conversations with FSBOs, with landlords. I'll door knock a neighborhood, and I'll put deals together directly with my new buyer, so I don't spend months of my time and the hundreds of dollars of my gas money driving these new buyers around trying to put them under contract in a hot market. I'll go off market where there's no competition, and I'll close deals with those new buyers a lot faster. But it starts with that seminar where I can educate and conversate at the same time.
Good deal. Like it. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's something too, you know, and on those seminars, if you're doing it via web, you can, you know, record it, be able to take snippets out of it, and be able to get it out, so you're always out in front of people.
Absolutely.
With that. And hey, Brian, you're close to me, so hey, whether we do something, you know, if you wanted to do something together, whether it was webinar or in person or whatever, always glad to do something like that. And you know, we're both veterans. I know you've been to one of my classes, so you know, we can see what we can do to try to get veterans butts and seats or online on there, because there's a huge opportunity there. So, and that's with anybody. So that's, you know, I'm always available, since I am an educator. So,
Well, Don, you're going to maybe regret that invitation, because I am planning to put together a bunch of podcasts that will be videoed. And it's pretty much whatever topic comes up, because there's a million topics that 1,000 people want to see. And it's going to be a recurring event. And yeah, I'd love to have you on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, we're glad to do it, because we want to help everybody that we can on there and educate them. And we can see in this industry, there's a lot of misinformation that goes on. Hey, that's everything. That's everything in life. But you know what? That's an opportunity for you to set yourself apart on there. So you know, build your reputation. So that's how we can do that. Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, Walter, listen, we really appreciate you spending some more time with us today.
Absolutely.
We will have this up on our channel, Real Estate Power Zone. We are officially branded now. You know, I've got the official logo now. Oh, there we go. So arms everywhere. So we want you to always be, you know, coming to these lives on there, because it's a chance for you to ask questions, but it's always recorded. We have the information out there to where you can reach out to us as well, because we have an abundance mindset to be able to help others. And that goes a long way. So again, thank you, Walter.
My pleasure.
and we'll get you back on. I know you got like a cajillion topics that I know you did nothing else in the Navy for those 21 years, so you probably just developed course content.
Yeah, that was it exactly.
So listen, everybody, thank you, and we'll have that up on YouTube. Hopefully by the end of the day today is my goal, because I got to be out of town tomorrow teaching MRP. So all right, y'all have a great day. Thank you so much.